Some shenanigans have ensued, and it caused trouble in the camp of the Israelites. So God has commanded them to take down one of their enemies, one that was leading their people to idolatry and to sin against the Lord by worshiping these idols. And it caused a great deal of suffering within the camp of Israel. Numbers 26:1. After the plague, the Lord said to Moses and Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest. 26:2. Take a census of all the male congregation of Israel from 20 years old and upward, by their fathers' houses, all in Israel, able to go to war. At the beginning of the journey, there was a census taken to number the amount of the Israelites that were 20 years old and upward. It has now been many years since that census, so a new one needs to be done. It's a good idea to know the state of the people when it comes to entering into conflict or into war. There's another reason for this as well, and we're going to see that at the end of the chapter, and it's quite cool. Numbers 26:3. And Moses and Eleazar the priest told the people in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. 26:4. A census of the people shall be taken from 20 years old and upward, as the Lord commanded Moses, and the Israelites who came forth out of the land of Egypt were. This is the same as what we saw at the beginning, that they were counting the people based on their individual tribes. This was just a mechanic that was used to make it far easier to count the people by dividing it into groups and subgroups based on the individual tribes and the prominent sons or whatever in those tribes as well. So it made counting a lot easier, a lot more accurate, and probably a lot less time consuming. There's still a lot of people though. We also see where this location is that this census is performed, and we are in the area of Jericho. Numbers 26:5. Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, the sons of Reuben of Hanok, the family of Hanokites, of Palu, the family of the Paluites. 26:6. Of Hezron, the family of the Hezronites, of Carmi, the family of the Carmites. 26:7. These are the families of the Reubenites, and their number was 43,730. So it's interesting to compare the first census to the second census. In the beginning of this book, in Numbers 1, we saw that the tribe of Reuben had 46,500. So the population of the men 20 years old and upward is actually less now, 43,700. But it's still relatively close to what it was originally. We're going to see in some of these tribes the numbers change by quite a bit more. Numbers 26:8. And the sons of Palu, Eleb. 26:9. The sons of Eleb, Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. These are the Dathan and Abiram chosen from the congregation who contended against Moses and Aaron in the company of Korah when they contended against the Lord. 26:10. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up together with Korah, when that company died, and the fire devoured 250 men, and they became a warning sign. 26:11. But Korah's sons did not die. One of the side stories we saw as we made our way through the book of Numbers occurred in chapter 16. Now this was a rebellion when these people tried to usurp the priesthood from Aaron, the high priest. And it didn't go very well for them. They ended up being slain. So Dathan and Abiram, they're mentioned here because they were part of that rebellion, and they were of the tribe of Reuben. Korah was kind of the main instigator, and we see that his line didn't end with him, that his sons survived after him. So that's kind of cool to see. Numbers 26:12. The sons of Simeon, according to their families, of Nemuel, the families of the Nemuelites, of Jamin, the family of the Jaminites, of Jachin, the family of the Jachinites. 26:13. Of Zerah, the family of the Zerahites, of Sheul, the family of the Sheulites. 26:14. These are the family of the Simeonites. 22,200. So here we have our second tribe, Simeon. Previously they were at 59,300, and now they are at 22,200. So there's less than half of them remaining. They did not prosper during this time of wilderness wandering. They went from being the third biggest tribe to the smallest one. And this is one of the big outliers when it comes to the populations in the second census compared to the first. Numbers 26:15. The sons of Gad, after the families of Zephon, the family of the Zephonites, of Haggi, the family of the Haggites, of Shuni, the family of the Shunites. 26:16. Of Ozni, the family of the Ozniites, of Eri, the family of the Erites. 26:17. Of Arod, the family of the Arodites, of Arali, the family of the Arelites. 26:18. These the families of the sons of Gad according to their numbers totaled 40,500. Gad went from a population of 45,650 to 40,500. So they've lost 5,100 people. Not a huge difference, relatively close to the same population. Numbers 26:19. The sons of Judah were and Onan, but and Onan died in the land of Canaan. So here we have and Onan mentioned. They were slain by the Lord back in Genesis 38. This was the story of the man who didn't fulfill his obligation to his wife when it came to the conception. He was the one spilling his seed on the ground. God needed descendants for the purposes of Israel down the line, and he was failing his obligation to do that. So God slew him as a result. And in those days, at that time, the brother of the man who died would marry the widow, and he would help her conceive, and the first child that would be born would be able to take on the inheritance of the dead brother. But when this man married his brother's widow, he did the same thing as his brother was doing, and then he was slain as well. So that was the end of that. Numbers 26:20. And the sons of Judah, according to their families, of Shelah, the family of the Shelanites, of Perez, the family of the Perezites, of Zerah, the family of the Zerahites. 26:21. And the sons of Perez were of Hezron, the family of the Hezronites, of Hamul, the family of the Hamulites. 26:22. These the families of Judah, according to their numbers, totaled 76,500. So the tribe of Judah, previously they had a population of 74,600, and now it is 76,500. So their population has actually increased. It's relatively the same, not a big difference, but it is slightly more than it was previously. Numbers 26:23. The sons of Issachar after their families, of Tola, the family of the Tolahites, of Puvha, the family of the Punites. 26:24. Of Jashub, the family of the Jashubites, of Shimron, the family of the Shimorites. 26:25. These, the families of Issachar, according to their numbering, totaled 64,300. Previously, Issachar was at 54,400, and now they are at 64,300. So their population has increased by roughly 10,000. So that's kind of a significant increase. Roughly 18%. Numbers 2626. The sons of Zebulun after their families. Of Sered, the family of the Seredites. Of Elon, the family of the Elonites. Of Jahliel, the family of the Jahlielites. 2627. These, the families of the Zebulunites, according to their numbering, totaled 60,500. Now for the tribe of Zebulun. Previously they were at 57,400, and now they are at 60,500. So that's like a 5% difference. Pretty much the same. Not a big change there at all. Numbers 2628. The sons of Joseph after their families were Manasseh and Ephraim. 2629. The sons of Manasseh of Machir, the family of the Machirites. And Machir was the father of Gilead. Of Gilead, the family of the Gileadites. 2630. These are the sons of Gilead. Of Izar, the families of the Izarites. Of Helek, the family of the Helekites. 2631. Of Asriel, the family of the Asrielites. Of Shechem, the family of the Shechemites. 2632. Of Shemida, the family of the Shedemites. And of Heper, the family of the Heperites. 2633. Zelophehad, son of Hepher, had no sons, but only daughters, and their names were Mahlah, Noah, Haglash, Milcah, and Trizha. It's quite interesting how up to this point we have seen no mention of daughters, but then again we're looking at a census to determine the fighting force of Israel by counting the men of military age. But here we have Zelophehad, and all the daughters here are listed by name. And as we'll see in a little bit, Manasseh is a very interesting tribe. Numbers 2634. These are the families of Manasseh, and their number was 52,700. In the first census, we saw Ephraim described before Manasseh. But now Manasseh has outgrown Ephraim, so they are being mentioned beforehand. And the population difference here is absolutely tremendous. Previously, they were at 32,200. And now they're at 52,700. So that's like a 60% increase in population, which is very significant. The most significant gain, they went from being one of the smallest tribes to being one of the biggest tribes. Manasseh is a real go-getter of a tribe, and we're going to see some awesome stuff that they're up to later on in the book of Numbers here. Numbers 2635. These are the sons of Ephraim according to their families. Of Shufla, the family of the Shufalites. Of Bikar, the family of the Bikaradites. Of Tahan, the family of the Tahanites. 2636. And these are the sons of the Shufalites. Of Iran, the family of the Iranites. 2637. These, the families of the sons of Ephraim, according to their number, totaled 32,500. These are the sons of Joseph after their families. So now we have Ephraim going from 40,500 to 32,500. So their population has decreased by quite a bit. They have decreased by about 20%. So where Manasseh made great gains and became much greater, Ephraim has dwindled away. and now they are mentioned after Manasseh. But Ephraim and Manasseh, they're kind of joined together because they are both descendants of Joseph. Joseph was, of course, a son of Israel, and they are sub-tribes of the tribe of Joseph. So that's how you can have 12 tribes, but there being 13 of them. That Ephraim and Manasseh are counted under one as Joseph. And then, of course, we don't have the tribe of Levi being mentioned because they are the priestly tribe. So it all makes sense. Numbers 26:38. The sons of Benjamin according to their families: of Bela, the family of the Belaites; of Ashbel, the family of the Ashbelites; of Ahiram, the family of the Ahiramites. 26:39. Of Shepuaham, the family of the Shepuamites; of Hupham, the family of the Huphamites. 26:40. And the sons of Bela were Arid and Naaman; of Arad, the family of the Aradites; of Naaman, the family of the Naamanites. 26:41. These are the sons of Benjamin according to their families, and their number was 45,600. We're almost there. Now we're up to Benjamin. Benjamin previously was at 35,400. So one of the smaller tribes. I guess the second smallest tribe. But now they are at 45,600. So they've had a decent increase in population. Benjamin, they're a pretty solid tribe, and they've been keeping out of trouble up to this point. Numbers 26:42. These are the sons of Dan according to their families: of Shuham, the family of the Shuhamites. These are the families of Dan according to their families. 26:43. All the families of the Shuhamites according to their number were 64,400. So Dan only had one son, and we see that the numbering of his tribe here is labeled under his son's name, the Shuhamites. Previously, the tribe of Dan was at 62,700, and now they are at 64,400. So a couple thousand different, basically the same number. They didn't really change very much. Numbers 26:44. Of the sons of Asher according to their families: of Imnah, the family of the Imnahites; of Ishavi, the family of the Ishavites; of Beerihah, the family of the Beerites. 26:45. Of the sons of Berah: of Heber, the family of the Heberites; of Mashiel, the family of the Mashielites. 26:46. And the name of the daughter of Asher was Sarah. So we have this woman here, Sarah, the daughter of Asher. We don't really know that much about her or who she is, but she must have been someone that was absolutely incredible to be mentioned here by name. It would be really cool to know exactly why she is mentioned here, what the significance is, who she was as a person, what she did with her life, whatever, but we don't know, and speculation's not very valuable. So, Numbers 26:47. These, the families of the sons of Asher, according to their number, totaled 53,400. So Asher was originally at 41,500, and now they are at 53,400. So a good size increase in population. Just one more tribe to go. We're almost there. Numbers 26:48. Of the sons of Naphtali after their families: of Jaziel, the family of the Jazilites; of Guni, the family of the Guniites. 26:49. Of Jezer, the family of the Jezerites; of Shilem, the family of the Shilemites. 26:50. These are the families of Naphtali according to their families, and their number totaled 45,400. So now we have our final tribe, the tribe of Naphtali. They started out at 53,400, and now they are at 45,400. a reduction of 8,000 people. So the tribe is a bit smaller now than it was before. Actually, I guess that's more of a decent sized reduction in population. Numbers 2651. This was the number of the Israelites, 601,730. So the total census before was 603,550, and now it is 601,730. So that works out to about a 3% reduction in population. So when Israel was in Egypt before, the Egyptians tried to limit their population. So I think they tried to limit the amount of children that they had. So I would not be surprised if they had more young people now than they did when they first left Egypt. So their total population of Israel is probably bigger now than it was previously. It's just a lot of these young people haven't come to age yet. We also had these different plagues that occurred, and a large group of people died in these different plagues. Like when there was the rebellion, there was the 250 people that were killed by the flame, but there was also another group of people that were swallowed up by a plague during that event, and that was in the tens of thousands. And there's been a few of those types of events, and those really do limit population and contribute to the reduction in the size of the military might of Israel. Numbers 2652. And the Lord said to Moses, 2653, to these the land shall be divided for inheritance according to the number of names. So Israel is on the outskirts of the promised land. They haven't quite made it there yet, but the Lord is telling them how to divide the land up once they get there. It's already assumed that they are going to have a great victory and be able to conquer this land. So it's important to know how to divide the land up once they're there between all these different tribes. And we're going to see how the Lord wants to do that here. Numbers 2654. To a large tribe you shall give the greater inheritance, and to a small tribe the less inheritance. To each tribe shall its inheritance be given according to its number. So the land is to be divided up based upon the numbers of the tribes. So the bigger the tribe, the more land they get. And the smaller the tribe, the less land they get. Makes sense. Seems like a good system to me. But how will they determine who gets which piece of land? Numbers 2655. But the land shall be divided by lot according to the names of the tribes of their fathers they shall inherit. 2656. According to the lot shall their inheritance be divided between the larger and the smaller. So they are going to decide who gets which portion of land by drawing lots. Normally this would be something that would be quite random, but due to God's ability to have the control over causality, he can decide who goes where. So God is the one deciding who gets which portion of land, for he's the one that determines which lot is of which lot. Although I guess it could just be random and the Lord can bless them regardless and make whatever it is they decide to do work in the end anyway. So that's also a thing. Numbers 2657. And these were numbered of the Levites according to their families. Of Gershon, the family of the Gershonites. Of Korhath, the family of the Korhathites. Of Merari, the family of the Merarites. So now we're going to look at the tribe of Levi. Now, the tribe of Levi, they don't have the same inheritance, so they are not counted among the military age men of the rest of the tribes. Numbers 2658. These are the families of Levi, the family of the Lebanites, the family of the Herbanites, the family of the Mahalites, the family of the Mushanites, the family of the Korahites. And Korah was the father of Amram. 2659. Amram's wife was Jochebed, daughter of Levi, who was born to Levi in Egypt. And she bore to Amram Aaron, Moses, and Miriam, their sister. So here we have the mention of the genealogy of Moses and his siblings. And we're probably more focused on Aaron, Moses' older brother, due to him being the high priest, and that being a hereditary priesthood. Numbers 26:60. And to Aaron were born Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. 26:61. But Nadab and Abihu died when they offered strange and unholy fire before the Lord. So Aaron was made the high priest. He was anointed with oil when the tabernacle was first created, and his sons became normal priests, and they were to be working in the tabernacle. His two oldest sons, they offered strange fire to the Lord, and they were slain. And that's the event here that is being described. This happened in Leviticus 10, if you want to see the full story. It's quite wild. And since this event and to where we are now in the book of Numbers, Aaron has since died, and Eleazar has become the high priest. Numbers 26:62. And those numbered of them were 23,000, every male from a month old and upward. For they were not numbered among the Israelites, because there was no inheritance given them among the Israelites. So the tribe of Levi, they were not part of the normal census. God purchased the tribe of Levi from their brethren to work in the ministry, to be helpers to the priests, and they would look after things for the tabernacle. And when God purchased them, he counted the number of them, or Moses counted the number of them. And from 1 month old and upwards, there was 22,000 of them. And now there are 23,000 of them. So it has increased by 1,000. Not a big difference, but a slight increase. Numbers 26:63. These were those numbered by Moses and Eleazar, the priest, who numbered the Israelites in the plain of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. 26:64. But among these there was not a man of those numbered by Moses and Aaron the priest when they numbered the Israelites in the wilderness of Sinai. Earlier on in the book of Numbers, chapter 13, we saw spies enter the promised land to see what it was all about. And when they came back, many of the spies were terrified of the people that were already there. And this made the Israelites afraid of entering into the promised land. And due to their unbelieving and lack of faith, God punished them by preventing them from entering the promised land. So instead, they had to wander the wilderness until that generation passed away. And we see with this census here that there is no one remaining from that original census. So now it is time that they can enter the promised land. Numbers 26:65. For the Lord had said of them, they shall surely die in the wilderness. There was not left a man of them except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. Of the dozen spies that went into the land, only 2 of them gave a good report of it, and they were Caleb and Joshua. And as a result of giving a good report of the promised land, the Lord is going to allow them to go into the promised land. So they are the only ones alive from that census that are going to be able to enter into the land. It won't be long till we get to see that happen. See the Israelites finally enter into the promised land, and the trials and tribulations they'll face there, and how great the land of milk and honey will be.